There is a part of you that already knows this. Something in your life has been quietly dying for a long time. Maybe you cannot name it precisely, but you can feel it. The old ways of thinking no longer fit. The stories you repeat about who you are sound more and more empty. The roles you play to be loved exhaust you instead of feeding you. You look in the mirror and see a face that knows there is more, but stays trapped in the same cycles. And somewhere inside, a whisper has begun to rise. If I keep living like this, a part of me will die completely. What if I told you that this is exactly what is supposed to happen? That there is a force moving through your life right now, whose sole purpose is to kill everything in you that was never really you. Not once, not twice, but over and over, 1,000,000 times if needed. Not to punish you, not to destroy you, but to make you something you have secretly longed to be all along. Untouched, unshakable, spiritually immortal. This force is not an angel, not a ritual, not a secret technique hidden in some temple far away. It is something much simpler and infinitely more powerful. It is a code. A quantum code hidden in 2 words you have been using your entire life without understanding what you were doing. Those words are, I am. You have spoken this code since you were a child. I am shy. I am not good enough. I am a failure. I am broken. I am unlucky in love. Perhaps later you tried to flip it. I am confident. I am successful. I am worthy. But deep down, some part of you still didn't believe it. And so your life became a battlefield between what you said and what you really felt. Between the affirmations you repeated and the reality that kept stubbornly mirroring your old identity. The reason for this conflict is not that manifestation does not work. It is that the I am quantum code will not decorate a lie. It will not put golden words on top of a dying self. It will kill the lie first. It will dismantle the false identity. It will strip away every mask, every illusion, every borrowed label, until there is nothing left to speak except the truth of what you really are. That is why this code kills you so many times. Every time you dare to say, I am, from a deeper place, every time you decide, I am no longer this old version of me. Some aspect of your old self begins to crumble. The relationship that only survived because you pretended to be smaller than you are starts to shake. The job that relied on your self-betrayal becomes unbearable. The habits that numbed your pain feel more disgusting than comforting. Parts of your life fall apart and it feels like you are the one dying. But what is really dying is the identity that cannot hold the truth of who you are becoming. The quantum code will kill that identity again and again until you finally see that the real you was never in danger. If you have ever felt like everything was collapsing at the exact same time you started seeking truth, you were not cursed. You were being rewritten. The I am code does not negotiate with the ego. It does not ask your permission to reveal your true nature. When you begin to use it consciously, when you quietly whisper, I am done being who I was, the universe hears more than a phrase. The field around you hears a command. And from that moment, life starts rearranging in ways that can feel terrifying to the false self and liberating to the soul. People leave. Old dreams die. Versions of you that once felt safe become too tight, like clothes several sizes too small. It can feel like a spiritual execution, repeated again and again. There is a reason this process feels like death. The ego believes that if it is not the one in control, nothing will survive. So when the I am code begins its work, the ego panics. It tries to hold on to old labels. I am this job. I am this relationship. I am this trauma. I am this story. But the code does not care about stories. It cares about essence. It cares about the part of you that existed before your first memory and will still exist after your last breath. To awaken that part, every false I am must be exposed and burned away. That is why the title of this message is not gentle. The truth is not here to comfort your illusions. It is here to rescue you from them. Maybe right now you are in one of those deaths. A version of you is collapsing. A chapter you thought would last forever is ending. The things that used to work for you no longer work at all. You may feel lost, disoriented, like a stranger in your own life. You may even feel resentful toward spirituality, as if seeking truth has made things worse. But what if what is dying is exactly what has been killing you slowly for years? What if this is not the end, but the surgery? What if the I Am quantum code is not an attack, but the deepest act of mercy you will ever experience? In this journey, I am going to walk with you through every stage of this inner dying and rebirthing. We will explore what the I Am quantum code really is, why it feels so destructive at first, how it dismantles your ego piece by piece, what happens in the terrifying void where you feel like nothing, and how that void is actually the doorway to a kind of immortality that has nothing to do with your body and everything to do with your consciousness. You will understand why life had to break your old identities, why certain prayers seem to be answered with chaos instead of comfort, and how every collapse was secretly an invitation to remember the one thing in you that cannot be destroyed. The pure I Am, behind every label, beyond every story. If you sense in your heart that this message is for you, I want to invite you to make a very simple decision right now. Do not go back to sleep. There is a part of you that wants to close this, distract itself, and run back to the familiar. And there is another part, quieter, older, wiser, that is saying, keep listening. This is what we've been asking for. If you want to continue awakening that deeper part, subscribe to this channel now. Not as a favor to me, but as a commitment to yourself. Let your mind know, I am choosing to stay in this frequency. I am choosing truth over comfort. I am choosing to remember who I really am. Because here is the paradox at the heart of this entire journey. The I Am quantum code will kill you 1,000,000 times, but you will survive every single death. The self that cannot survive was never really you. The self that remains, the one who can say simply, I am, without needing to add anything. That is the part of you that the universe cannot touch, time cannot erode, and death cannot erase. That is what I mean by immortal. Not a body that never ages, not a personality that lives forever, but a consciousness that finally recognizes its own eternal nature. So as we begin, let this truth sink into your bones. You are not being destroyed. You are being stripped. You are not being abandoned. You are being revealed. Everything that is dying in you now is making space for what has always lived beneath it. In the next sections, we will go deeper into this code, word by word, layer by layer, and you will begin to see your entire life, especially the painful parts, through a completely different lens. And once you see it, you will never be able to unknow it. Before the I Am quantum code can transform your life, it has to stop being a mystical slogan and become something very concrete inside you. So let us start from the beginning, in the simplest possible way. Every time you say the words I am, you are not just describing yourself. You are issuing a command to reality. You are giving instructions to your mind, your nervous system, your energy field, and to the invisible intelligence that shapes the events of your life. I am is not a decoration at the start of a sentence. It is the key that opens a door between your inner world and the quantum field that responds to it. Think about how early you started using this code. As a child, someone called you shy, and eventually you said, I am shy. Someone compared you to a sibling, and you thought, I am not as smart, I am not as loved, I am the problem. Those words did not just float away. Each time you repeated them, your brain reorganized itself to match them. Your body reacted as if they were laws. Your behavior began to fit inside that identity the way water fills a container. Without even knowing it, you were programming the I am code with deficiency, fear, and limitation. And the field around you, perfectly obedient, began collapsing experiences that would prove you right. It is important to understand that the code itself is neutral. It does not care if you attach pain or power to it. It simply amplifies whatever follows. I am broken and I am whole are equally creative, but they build completely different universes. The problem is that most of your I am statements are not conscious choices. They are inherited scripts. They come from parents who were repeating their own wounded identities, from teachers who did not see your uniqueness, from religions that sometimes confused humility with self-rejection, from a culture that profits from you feeling never enough. You did not sit down one day and decide, I will build a self-image out of shame and fear. Yet slowly, over years, that is exactly what happened. The I am quantum code is the recognition of this mechanism and the decision to reclaim it. It is the moment you stop using I am as a description of what your past has done to you and start using it as a declaration of what your essence really is. But here is where it becomes powerful and dangerous to your old identity. You cannot simply paste a new I am on top of a rotten foundation and expect everything to change. If you stand in front of a mirror with eyes full of self-hatred and whisper, I am beautiful, I am worthy, while your whole body screams, no, you're not. You are not activating the code. You are arguing with it. The field does not respond to the words you force out. It responds to the identity you embody. This is why, when you truly begin to work with the I am code, it feels less like a gentle affirmation practice and more like an earthquake. The moment you say from a deep place, I am no longer a victim, everything in your life that only survives if you remain a victim has to change. The dynamics where you are always blamed, diminished, or used start to crack. The relationships that depend on your smallness become unstable. The job that feeds on your lack of boundaries becomes unbearable. It looks like chaos, but it is coherence. Your outer world is being forced to align with your new inner declaration. And to the ego, that feels like death. On a quantum level, I am is the point of observation that collapses infinite potentials into one experienced reality. Before you decide who you are, countless versions of you exist as possibilities. The confident one, the fearful one, the creative one, the numb one. They all live in the field as probabilities. When you say, I am this, and you believe it, you choose one of these versions and give it power. The more you repeat it, the more solid that version becomes, until it feels like the only one. You begin to forget that there were ever others. You say, this is just who I am, as if it were a fact instead of a choice that was made a long time ago and then left on autopilot. The I am quantum code invites you to do something radical, to interrupt this autopilot and choose again, to realize that the you have been defending, protecting, and explaining for years is only one selection from an infinite menu. And because it was chosen unconsciously, it can be revised consciously. But that revision does not happen in your head alone. It happens in your cells, your breath, your posture, your expectations. When you whisper, I am worthy of love, and you mean it, your body must learn how to stop flinching at affection. Your nervous system must learn how to exist without constant anxiety. Your choices must shift to reflect someone who no longer begs for crumbs. Every old pattern that contradicts the new I am has to die. This is why the code will kill you 1,000,000 times. There's another layer to this. Spiritually, I am is not just your sentence starter. It is the name of the divine presence itself. When Moses asked for the name of God, the answer was not a label, but a state. I am that I am. Consciousness itself speaking. When you say I am, you are tapping into that same stream of being. You are not a little human trying to borrow a divine phrase. You are the divine awareness, temporarily localized, declaring itself through a human mouth. The tragedy is that most of the time, you are using that sacred code to curse yourself. I am worthless. I am nothing. I am stupid. Imagine the creative force that shaped galaxies being told, through your nervous system, to experience itself as trash. the field has no choice but to obey. This is why the I am quantum code is not some manifestation trick. It is a responsibility. Once you understand what it is, you can no longer speak about yourself carelessly without feeling the weight of it. You begin to notice how every casual "I am so dumb," every resigned "I am just like this," carries the energy of a spell. You might still slip because you are human, but you will no longer be innocent. You will hear the echo of your own words and feel how they land in your body, how they tighten your chest or drop your shoulders. And sometimes, in the same breath, you will decide to correct it. No, that is old code. I am learning. I am changing. I am more than this moment. As you grow in this awareness, you start to see your entire life through the lens of the code. You remember how often you were told what you are by others. You are too much. You are not enough. You are difficult. You are lazy. You are your father's child. You are just like your mother. Each phrase was a suggestion to your subconscious, an invitation to adopt an identity. Some you accepted, some you resisted, but none of them were the full truth. The true I am in you existed before any of those definitions, and will still exist when they are all gone. The quantum code is the bridge back to that original self, but it will cost you every false self you have built along the way. So when you hear that this code will kill you 1,000,000 times, understand it now. It will kill every I am that does not belong to your essence. Every lie you swallowed about your worth, every costume you wore to be chosen, every self-image built on trauma instead of truth. And with each death, something remains. A quiet awareness that simply knows, I am. Not I am broken or I am perfect, but I am, bare and indestructible. That awareness is what we will move closer to in the next part of this journey, where we will explore what happens when your old self actually starts to crack, and why that cracking is not the end of you, but the beginning of your real life. There comes a moment, often so subtle you almost miss it, when the I am code stops being an idea in your mind and starts becoming a force in your life. It rarely begins with fireworks. It usually begins with discomfort. One day you catch yourself saying, I am tired of being this person. And for the first time, you actually mean it. Not as drama, not as a performance, but as a quiet verdict deep inside your chest. In that instant, something shifts. You have no clue yet how powerful that sentence really was. You think you just admitted your exhaustion, but at the quantum level, you pushed delete on an identity that has been running your life for years. The system hears the command, and then the first deaths begin. The first death is rarely loud. It often looks like a crack, small, almost invisible, appearing in a part of your life you thought was solid. A relationship that used to feel good enough suddenly becomes unbearable to your nervous system. A job you tolerated for safety starts to feel like a cage. The coping habits you used to escape your pain stop working. They numb you less and poison you more. You may not realize it at first, but this is the I am code dismantling anything built on a false foundation. The moment you say, I am not this anymore, the reality that matches this begins to lose its glue. What you used to hold together through pretending starts falling apart because the pretender is quietly dying. This is where people often feel betrayed by the spiritual path. They start to use higher language. They pray more sincerely. They dare to say things like, I am worthy, I am loved, I am free. And instead of immediate bliss, life seems to go into chaos. Conflict surfaces in places that used to be quiet. Secrets are exposed. Hidden resentments erupt. Opportunities that kept you comfortable vanish as if someone pulled them out from under you. You look at the mess and think, ever since I started healing, everything got worse. It is tempting to believe you made a mistake, that you angered God, that the universe is punishing you. But what is really happening is simple and brutal. The version of you that fit your old life cannot coexist with the one you just declared yourself to be. One of them has to die. Imagine a house built on a rotten foundation. From the outside, it might look decent for a while. You can paint the walls, hang expensive curtains, place beautiful furniture to distract yourself from the smell. Affirmations work like that if they are only mental. You put nice phrases on top of a structure that is quietly collapsing. When you activate the I am code for real, you are not redecorating. You are calling in engineers with sledgehammers. When you say, I am done living small, it is like ordering the universe to dig up the floorboards and show you every area where you have been shrinking yourself to be accepted. It will not always look spiritual. Sometimes it looks like arguments, ugly tears, awkward conversations, lost friendships, and nights of staring at the ceiling, wondering who you are without the things that are leaving. The first deaths often happen in the places where you were most dishonest with yourself. Maybe you built your identity around being the strong one who never needs help, and suddenly you find yourself unable to hold everything together. You cry in front of someone you never let see you weak, and a part of you panics because the old role is slipping through your fingers. Or maybe you have always been the easy one, the one who bends, agrees, stays quiet to keep peace. Then, one day, I am tired of being walked on, rises inside you. And before you can stop yourself, you say no. You set a boundary. You speak up. It feels like a small act on the outside. But internally, it is a death sentence for the identity that only survived by abandoning itself. That identity will not go quietly. It will make you doubt yourself, guilt trip you, beg you to go back. If you listen too long, the old I am resurrects and the new one weakens. You might notice that as your old self begins to crack, your body joins the process. The armor you wore for years starts to feel heavy. Muscles you kept permanently tense in order to survive begin to shake as they relax. Emotions you buried because they were too much push their way to the surface. You may find yourself crying without a clear reason, laughing unexpectedly, or feeling waves of anger you thought you were too spiritual to feel. This, too, is a kind of death. The version of you that had to split off feelings in order to function cannot go where you are going. The I am code cannot coexist with a self that is held together only by suppression. So the old emotional strategies begin to die, and for a while, you feel raw and exposed, like skin after a bandage is ripped off. In these first deaths, one of the most painful things you will encounter is the reaction of others. The people in your life do not respond to who you are in your essence. They respond to who you have been in practice. If you have always been the caretaker, the rescuer, the one who fixes everything, your first attempts at saying, I am not responsible for everyone anymore, will be experienced as betrayal by those who benefited from your self-abandonment. If you have always agreed, always apologized, always folded your needs into the background, your first, I am worth being heard, will not be applauded by everyone. Some will push back. Some will label you selfish or changed or difficult. It will hurt. The old you will want to apologize and shrink again. The new you will stand trembling, but standing still. That trembling is a sign of an identity dying and a new one being born. Here is what you must remember. The first deaths feel personal, but they are mechanical. The I am code is not attacking you. It is simply doing what it was designed to do. When you begin to consciously upgrade your I am, everything in your life that was built around a lesser I am becomes unstable. If your old identity was I am unlovable, you unconsciously chose partners, friends, and environments that confirmed that belief. When you shift to I am worthy of real love, those old environments no longer recognize you. Either they rise with you or they fall away. It is not revenge, it is resonance. And what does not resonate with the new you must either transform or exit. To the part of you attached to those patterns, it feels like being killed. To the part of you that prayed for a new life, it is the answer. You will know you are in the first wave of deaths when your language about yourself begins to change, even before your circumstances catch up. You start catching old phrases in your mouth. I am always the problem. I am just not meant for this. I am stuck, and they feel sour, false, almost painful to say. You might not have a shiny new replacement yet, but you have a clear inner no. That no is the beginning of the end for the identity that fed on those statements. You may not feel like the upgraded self yet, but you cannot fully believe the old one either. This in-between feels unstable because it is. You are standing in the rubble of a self that is dying, while the new self is still under construction. In this stage, your mind will do everything it can to convince you to go back. It will romanticize the old identity, reminding you of the comforts it provided, the predictability, the familiar pain, the roles you knew how to perform. It will tell you that asking for more is arrogant, that claiming a higher I am is delusion, that you should be grateful for what you had and stop making everything so complicated. When this happens, recognize it for what it is: the survival instinct of a self that knows it is losing control. The I am. Quantum code is not just rewriting your beliefs. It is dethroning a false king, and false kings do not step down politely. If you are here reading these words, it is very likely that the first cracks have already appeared in your life. Something you used to hold on to does not hold you in the same way anymore. A part of you is confused and scared. Another part feels strangely relieved, even in the chaos. That relief is your true self breathing a little more freely as its cage loosens. The key is to trust this process long enough to see what emerges on the other side of the deaths. You are not emptying your life for the sake of emptiness. You are making room for an identity that is not based on fear. In the next part of this journey, we will step even deeper into this dismantling. We will talk about what it really means to die a million times on the inside, and how every tiny death of a lie creates space for a larger truth. For now, let yourself acknowledge this simple fact. You are allowed to let the old you crack. You are allowed to watch certain patterns die without rushing to resurrect them. You are allowed to tell the universe, I am no longer that, even before you know fully who you are becoming. That admission alone is a funeral for the self that held you captive. And the I am quantum code will honor that funeral by guiding you toward a version of you that was waiting behind every death all along. By the time you consciously begin to work with the I am quantum code, you've already died internally more times than you can count. You just did not know what to call it. Every time you felt your heart break and realized you could not go back to who you were before, a version of you died. Every time a belief you held like a shield shattered in the face of truth, a version of you died. Every time you said, I can't live like this anymore, and something inside you quietly agreed, another death took place. This path is not about one dramatic moment of awakening where everything changes at once. It is about 1,000 tiny funerals of lies you once built your life around. When people hear 1,000,000 deaths, they imagine something grand, terrifying, maybe mystical. But most of the deaths that the I am code brings are subtle and intimate. They happen in the privacy of your own mind long before anyone around you notices. You wake up one morning and realize you cannot force yourself to laugh at jokes that belittle you anymore. The version of you who tolerated that for the sake of belonging has died. You walk away from a conversation thinking, I should have apologized like I always do. But there is a quiet part in you that simply refuses. The version of you who kept the peace by blaming yourself is no longer willing to live. These deaths are quiet. No one sends flowers. But inside, everything is changing. The ego, as we usually live it, is a collection of stories about who we think we have to be in order to survive. I am the strong one. I am the problem. I am the invisible one. I am the one who always fixes things. These stories might have helped you at some point. They may have kept you safe in chaotic homes, complicated relationships, or harsh environments. But what once protected you eventually starts to imprison you. The I Am quantum code does not attack the ego with judgment. It simply shines so much truth on these stories that they can no longer hold their shape. And because you have wrapped your whole identity around them, their collapse feels exactly like dying. You die a little every time you tell the truth where you used to lie. Maybe you always pretended you were fine, even when you were drowning, because your identity was, I am easygoing, I am low maintenance. The first time you admit, I am not okay, I need help, something in you screams. That scream is the death cry of a role that kept you loved at the cost of your own needs. You also die a little every time you refuse to play a role you once depended on to feel valuable. If your worth was tangled up with being needed, then saying no to someone's constant demands feels like walking off a cliff. Part of you truly believes, if I am not useful, I am nothing. When you let that belief go, it feels like stepping into emptiness. The old I am falls like a costume to the floor, and for a moment, you stand naked without a script. The million deaths show up in your thinking too. You might catch a thought that used to feel like absolute truth. I am always abandoned. I am never chosen. I am destined to struggle. And for a brief second, you do not believe it with the same intensity. It still appears, but it does not own you. That micro moment of distance is a death. The grip of that identity has loosened. You might even feel grief as you release these familiar beliefs. They were painful, but they were yours. You knew how to navigate the world as someone who was always the outsider, the broken one, the one who expected disappointment. Letting those beliefs die means letting a known universe dissolve. The unknown, even when it is better, is frightening. Sometimes, the deaths are more dramatic. The relationship you built on your wounds finally collapses. The career you chose to appease others falls apart. The community that loved your mask but never saw your soul slowly drifts away when you stop performing. You stand in the rubble of a life constructed to serve an identity that no longer exists. Here, the I am code feels ruthless. You might rage at the universe, at God, at yourself. Why did you let me lose everything? You demand. But if you look closely, you will see a pattern. Nothing that was built on a lie can survive the frequency of truth forever. The code is not cruel, it is consistent. If it allowed your false self to keep growing, you would gain the world and lose your soul. You will notice that each death, no matter how painful, leaves something untouched. A quiet awareness remains. After the tears, after the panic, after the exhaustion, there comes a moment, sometimes just a breath, where you feel a still point inside. You cannot describe it very well. It does not say, I am this, or I am that. It simply is. It watches the collapse of identities the way you might watch waves break on the shore. There is sadness, of course, but also a strange peace. You are watching something die, but you are not dying with it. The more the I am code works on you, the more familiar this watcher becomes. It is the part of you that is not born every time you take on a role and does not die every time you drop one. It is the pure I am behind every label. Ego deaths are not clean. They do not happen in one ceremony, one retreat, one breakthrough. They are repetitive, layered, cyclical. You think you have killed a pattern, and then it appears again in a more subtle form. Perhaps you stop choosing partners who openly disrespect you. But months later, you realize you have chosen someone who ignores you quietly instead. The costume changed, but the script remained. Instead of judging yourself, understand. This is another layer dying. The I am available for disrespect program is dissolving in stages. Each time you notice it earlier, each time you walk away sooner, each time you choose yourself a little more, another small death takes place. The I am unworthy identity keeps shrinking and shrinking, dying 1,000 cuts at a time until one day you realize it is too small to wear. Because these deaths are often invisible to others, you must learn to honor them yourself. Nobody may notice that the old you would have sent 10 apologetic messages after being mistreated. And the new you simply stays silent and walks away. No one may applaud the time you stayed present with your pain instead of numbing it with your usual escape. No one may celebrate the moment you admitted just to yourself, "I am not happy here," when you have spent years pretending you were. But you can notice, you can recognize. A version of me died today, and I survived her funeral. This self-recognition is not ego. It is reverence for your own process. If you are honest, there is also a strange satisfaction in these tiny deaths. Yes, there is fear and grief, but there is also relief. Every time a false part of you falls away, you feel a little lighter. Every time you refuse to return to an old pattern, even when it would be easier, you sense a quiet pride growing inside, a kind that does not depend on anyone's approval. You begin to realize that what the "I am" code is killing is not you. It is the layers of you that were created by fear, by survival, by conditioning. Underneath all of that, your real self is not fragile at all. It is the only thing that has never been wounded by the world's opinions. This is where 1,000,000 deaths turns from a threat into a promise. The more you allow these small identities to die, the more you experience something unexpected: continuity. You see jobs end, relationships shift, identities crumble, and yet you remain. Different, wiser, perhaps more tender, but still here. The old fear that if I lose this, I lose myself, proves to be false over and over again. Slowly, the equation flips. Instead of clinging to each "I am" as if it were your life, you hold it more lightly, knowing, if it needs to die, I will still be. That knowing is the first taste of the immortality waiting on the other side of all these deaths. For now, if all you can do is admit that parts of you are dying, that is enough. You do not have to understand the entire process to be inside it. You only have to be honest. This old way of being is collapsing. You might still be tempted to run back and resurrect it. You might even try. But each time you put your hand on an old identity, it will feel colder, heavier, less alive. The "I am" quantum code has already begun its work. The death spiral of the false self is in motion. And every time you choose truth over habit, you accelerate its end. In the next stage of this journey, we will move into the most frightening and sacred territory of all: the void, the space where you feel like nothing and yet are closer than ever to everything. It is in that empty, in-between place that the pure "I am" is revealed not as an idea, but as your actual nature. But you cannot enter that space with all your old "I am this" identities still clinging to you. That is why the code kills you 1,000,000 times, so that by the time you reach the void, there is less left to lose and far more ready to be found. There is a strange point on this path where the old self has died enough times that it can no longer fully come back, but the new self is not yet solid enough to stand on its own. It is the moment when the masks you used to wear no longer fit, yet you have not finished growing into your true face. The roles you played have crumbled, but the role-less you still feels like a ghost. That place has many names in different traditions. Some call it the dark night of the soul. Some call it the wilderness. In the language of the "I am" quantum code, it is the void, the space where every "I am this" falls silent, and all that remains, for a while, is the terrifying sensation of being nothing at all. If you have ever felt like you are floating between worlds, no longer able to go back but not yet able to go forward, you know this void. You wake up and realize that the things that used to define you no longer make sense. The relationship you clung to is gone. The job that gave you a label has ended. The beliefs that once made you feel safe no longer ring true. You look around and see fragments of an old life that does not match the person you are becoming. But you don't yet have a new life to step into. It feels like standing in a house after everything has been moved out. The echo of your footsteps louder than your thoughts. The walls are still there, but it no longer feels like home. You are there, but But who is you now? This is where the I am code feels most brutal, because it refuses to let you rebuild yourself on the old foundations. You try to pick up an old label. I am the strong one. I am the one who always gives. I am the failure. I am the victim. And your soul simply will not believe it anymore. The words might come to your lips, but they taste wrong. They fall flat. Your body does not respond the way it once did. You feel emotionally naked, stripped of every costume you used to walk through the world. When people ask, "So who are you now?" you stumble, because the old answers feel like lies, and the true answer hasn't fully formed. In this void, there is often a deep temptation to rush into something, anything, just to feel like someone again. You might want to jump into a new relationship simply to avoid feeling alone with yourself. You might want to throw yourself into work, projects, distractions, just to escape the silent question that hangs in the air. If I am not that anymore, what am I? The old I am identities may have been painful, but they were at least familiar. Being nobody, even for a little while, can feel more threatening than being someone who suffers. This is why so many people try to run back into old lives, even after they have outgrown them. They prefer the certainty of a painful identity over the uncertainty of no identity at all. But from the perspective of the I am quantum code, the void is not a punishment. It is a sacred initiation. It is the space where everything that is not truly you is stripped away. Not so that you are left empty forever, but so that you can finally meet the one thing within you that has never changed. The pure awareness that existed before you were given a name, before you were told what you are, before you learned to say, I am, with anything attached to it. In the void, every adjective, every label, every inherited identity is interrupted. What remains is the raw sensation of existence itself. No story, just I am. And although your mind will call this nothing, at the deepest level, it is the beginning of everything real. At first, the void might feel like depression, and it is important to be honest about that. Your nervous system has relied on certain identities to feel structure and meaning. When those identities dissolve, you can feel numb, unmotivated, uninterested in things that used to excite you. It may seem like you have lost all desire, all direction. Yet if you look closely, the quality of this numbness is different from the old one. Before, your deadness came from being buried under too many roles, too much pretending. Now, your emptiness is more like a field before anything has been planted. It is frightening because it is open. It holds no guarantees, but it holds possibility. If you can resist the urge to fill this emptiness with the first thing that offers distraction, something subtle begins to happen. In the silence, you start to notice that while every identity feels like it is dissolving, there is still something that has never left. When you sit very quietly with your eyes closed and watch your thoughts, you see them pass like clouds. One thought says, I am lost. Another says, I am nothing. Another says, I am failing. But if you pay attention, you can sense that there is something aware of these thoughts that is not defined by any of them. That awareness does not say, I am lost or I am nothing. It simply observes. It was there when you believed you were a victim. It is here when you no longer know who you are. It has been present in every life phase, in every emotion, in every death of a self. That awareness is the pure I am that the code has been trying to bring you back to. In the void, your relationship with I am begins to change. Up until now, you have used it mostly to attach identities to yourself. I am this, I am that. In this in-between space, you may find yourself simply resting in I am, with nothing after it. You sit, you breathe, and instead of describing yourself, you just feel the fact that you exist. No achievements, no failures, no roles, no labels, just this undeniable sense of being. It can feel almost too simple to be real. The mind will protest, saying, this is nothing, This is empty. I need more. But the deeper part of you recognizes that this bare, labelless existence is more stable than anything you have ever called yourself. It is unkillable. It does not rise and fall with your successes and losses. It does not grow or shrink when people approve or reject you. It simply is. This is where the first taste of immortality enters. You begin to notice that everything you thought was you has changed 100 times. Your body has aged. Your beliefs have evolved. Your tastes, dreams, relationships, and roles have all transformed or disappeared. And yet, something has remained constant, watching it all. That something cannot be the stories you tell about yourself, because you have told many different stories. It cannot be your roles, because you have played so many and stepped out of them. It cannot be your feelings, because they change from hour to hour. The only thing that is never left is the simple awareness that can say, I am, even when it does not know what comes after. That awareness is what the I am quantum code is trying to reveal to you. In a way, the void kills you, not so that you disappear, but so that everything that is not this awareness falls away. It will feel like 1,000 emotional deaths, but each one clears another layer of noise between you and this silent center. At first, you might touch this center only for a few seconds at a time. A moment of inexplicable peace. A brief sense of being okay for no reason. Then the mind storms back with its lists, its fears, its need for identity, and you feel lost again. But each visit to the void changes you. Each time you find that silent I am in the middle of your confusion, you weaken the belief that you are only your roles and stories. You begin to trust that even when you have no idea who you are becoming, something in you knows how to be. To live through this stage, you must develop a new kind of courage. The courage to exist without a clear label. To answer the question, who are you? With something more honest than a job title or a relationship status. Maybe, for a while, your only true answer is, I am changing, or I am in between who I was and who I will be. That answer might frustrate the people who want you to be easily defined. It might frustrate your ego too, which craves certainty. But to the I am within you, it is sacred truth. You are no longer willing to build your life on identities that were never yours. You would rather float in this unsettling in-between than run back into a prison just to feel anchored. If you are in the void right now, if you feel like everything is dissolving and nothing has arrived to replace it, please hear this. You are not failing. You are closer than you have ever been to the core of who you are. The loneliness you feel is often the loneliness of standing without masks for the first time. The fear you feel is the fear of a self that knows it cannot control what comes next. The emptiness you feel is the space being cleared for something truer than anything you have yet allowed yourself to be. You are not being erased. You are being revealed. As the I am quantum code continues its work, this void will not stay empty forever. From this ground of pure awareness, a new identity will begin to grow, not constructed from fear or survival, but from alignment with the part of you that never dies. You will still live in a human body. You will still have preferences, personality, quirks, and limitations. But you will know, in a way you did not before, that none of those things are the whole of you. They are expressions, costumes worn by something timeless. And that is where the idea of immortality stops being a concept and becomes an inner reality. In the next stage, we will explore this more directly. We will talk about what it really means to become immortal through the I am code. Not in the sense of a body that never ages, but in the sense of discovering the dimension of you that outlives every version of yourself that has ever died. For now, if all you can do is sit in the void and breathe, that is enough. Each breath is a quiet declaration. I do not know who I am becoming, but I know that I am. And that simple knowing is the seed of everything your soul came here to remember. There is a moment on this journey where the language of death stops feeling like pure metaphor and starts to reveal what it has been pointing to all along. Not physical death, not the end of your heartbeat or your breath, but the repeated ending of every identity you once mistook for yourself. By the time you reach this place, you have watched so many roles dissolve, so many versions of me crumble, that a strange and quiet realization begins to dawn. If all of these selves can die, and yet something in you keeps watching their funerals, then you cannot be any of them. Whatever you truly are must be the one who remains. That recognition is the doorway into what we can call quantum immortality. To understand this clearly, you have to look back over your own life with honest eyes. Think of who you believed you were at 5 years old, the way you said, "I am" back then. I am scared. I am shy. I am the one who gets in trouble. I am the good kid. I am mommy's favorite. I am nobody. That child self felt so real when you were inside it. Every emotion was huge, every story unquestioned. Now, when you remember that version of you, you can feel tenderness, maybe pain. But you also know that you are not that child anymore. That identity has died. A new one took its place in adolescence, full of different "I am" statements. Then that one died too. Again and again, identity formed and dissolved, each one feeling final and permanent while you were living it, each one later seen as just a phase. If they all felt like you and all disappeared, what is the constant? The constant is the awareness that could say, "I am," at every stage, even while the words after it kept changing. There was an "I am" that watched you be a child, an "I am" that watched you be a teenager, an "I am" that watched you play adult roles you did not fully understand. That "I am" has never aged. It did not grow taller, change jobs, fall in love, or get its heart broken. It witnessed all of those things through your eyes. It experienced them fully, but it was never limited to any of them. When a chapter ended, that awareness did not end with it. When a version of you died inwardly, that awareness did not die. It simply moved its attention to the next scene. Quantum immortality is not about denying that bodies die or pretending that loss does not hurt. Your body will age. People you love will leave in one way or another. This physical lifetime will not last forever. The pain of grief and the reality of endings are part of being human, and nothing in the "I am" code asks you to bypass that. What it does invite you to see is that there is a dimension of you that is not destroyed by these changes. The part of you that says "I am" without anything added is not the body, not the personality, not the story. It is the invisible field of awareness that gives all of those things a stage on which to appear. It is like the sky behind the weather. Storms pass, clouds form and dissolve. But the open space holding it all is never harmed. When the "I am" quantum code has killed enough false identities, you begin to taste this sky-like quality in yourself. You lose something that once defined you, and you fall apart for a time. You grieve, you rage, you feel lost. But then, beneath the waves, you notice that something remains untouched. The quiet sense of "I still am" persists, even when everything you thought you were has been shaken. That simple fact, which the mind usually ignores, starts to become the center of your experience. The fear that, if this ends, I end, begins to erode. You realize, sometimes with shock, that you have survived collapses you thought would destroy you. The relationship ended, but you did not disappear. The job vanished, but you still exist. The identity shattered, but awareness stayed. Every time this happens, your nervous system receives a new message. I can let things die and still be here. This is where the idea of the code, killing you 1,000,000 times before making you immortal, begins to make sense. Each death reveals more clearly the part of you that does not die. At first, you resist. You cling to roles, labels, routines, telling yourself that you are nothing without them. The code gently relentlessly proves you wrong. It lets one attachment fall away, then another, then another. After enough cycles, something in you stops clinging with the same desperation. You start to hold your identities more lightly. You can say, right now I am a parent, I am a creator, I am a healer, I am a student, knowing these are temporary garments, not your naked self. You can love these roles deeply, show up fully in them, and still know that if they change or disappear, the essence underneath remains luminous and whole. Immortality, in this sense, is not about arrogance. It is not an ego proclaiming, I will live forever. It is almost the opposite. It is the humility of recognizing that the deepest part of you never belonged to the small story you have been defending all your life. You begin to feel less like a separate, isolated being fighting for survival, and more like a wave on a vast ocean of consciousness. The wave rises, takes a shape, crashes, dissolves back into water, and rises again in a different form. From the perspective of the wave, each form feels like a life, and each crash feels like a death. From the perspective of the water, there is no death, only movement. The I am within you is that water. Your identities are its waves. As you anchor into this understanding, fear starts to transform, not vanish completely because your body is still wired to protect itself, but soften and shrink. The terror of being rejected for being yourself loses some of its power when you realize that no opinion can touch what you are in essence. The anxiety about making the wrong choice relaxes when you know that even if a path ends, the one walking it has not been destroyed, only redirected. Even the fear of physical death, while still poignant, begins to feel less like falling into emptiness, more like returning to a source you already know intimately as your own presence. You may not understand it intellectually, but your heart starts to trust that whatever you truly are cannot be killed. This shift does not make you cold or detached. On the contrary, it allows you to love more fiercely and live more fully. When you believe that each loss will annihilate you, you love cautiously. You hold back. You cling. You try to control people and situations because your sense of existence feels tied to them. When you know, even a little, that your existence is rooted in something deeper than any external form, you can love without chains. You can let people be who they are, knowing that their presence in your life may change, but the love that moved through you is real and will leave its imprint. You can take risks, pursue dreams, speak truth, because failure no longer threatens your being. It only rearranges your story. The I am. Quantum code becomes, at this stage, less about repeating statements and more about resting in a state. You may still use phrases like, I am worthy, I am loved, I am guided, but they come from a deeper place. They are not attempts to convince yourself of something fragile. They are descriptions of the way awareness has begun to recognize itself. Even when fear and doubt appear, they do so on the surface. Underneath, there is an unshakable sense of I am that does not need proof. You start to sense that this awareness was here long before you recognized it and will remain long after this particular chapter of existence has passed. That is the subtle, profound flavor of immortality. It is important to say this clearly. Nothing in this journey asks you to deny your humanity. You will still feel grief when you lose someone. You will still have days when your old identities claw at you, insisting that you are small, unworthy, doomed. You will still forget, get triggered, fall into old patterns. Quantum immortality does not mean you become a distant, untouchable being floating above life. It means that even as you cry, panic, or laugh, some part of you knows. This, too, is passing through the space of what I am. I am not confined to this moment, even while I fully experience it. You are both the actor in the scene and the awareness watching the entire play. If you listen closely, you may notice that the sentence, I will die, begins to lose its absolute power over you. In its place, a different intuition emerges. Every version of me will die, but I in my essence, seem to continue. You cannot explain this fully. You might not talk about it with many people. But something in you knows. You have passed through inner deaths and come out the other side. You have watched identities burn and discovered that what remained after the fire was not ash, but a clearer sense of being. That being, that silent I am, is what the code has been trying to introduce you to from the very beginning. So when you hear the phrase, the I am quantum code will kill you 1,000,000 times before making you immortal, understand it now on a deeper level. It will kill your attachment to every identity that can be taken from you, until you finally rest in the one thing that cannot be touched. It will kill the lies you believed about your worth until you stand naked in a worth that is not negotiable. It will kill the fear that you are nothing without your roles until you discover that you are everything without them. It will not make your body live forever. It will do something far more radical. It will show you that you were never just the body to begin with. From here, the question changes. It is no longer, how can I protect this fragile self from death? It becomes, how can I live, speak, choose, and love as the awareness that knows it cannot die? That is the question we step into next. How to walk through a mortal world with mortal emotions and temporary stories, while anchored in an immortal center that says quietly, simply, unshakably, I am. If you look back at your life with honest eyes, you will see a pattern you may never have noticed before. Every time you thought, this is the end of me, it wasn't. Every time a chapter closed that you were sure you could not survive, you did. Every time a version of you crumbled, another version quietly emerged from the dust, blinking, breathing, still here. It may have taken time for you to recognize it, but now, from this vantage point, you can see. You have already died many times, and yet something in you has never once disappeared. That something is what the I am quantum code has been trying to introduce you to all along. When you first hear that the I am code will kill you 1,000,000 times before making you immortal, it sounds harsh, dramatic, even threatening. But now you know what it really means. It is not here to harm your body or erase your soul. It is here to dismantle every borrowed I am you wrapped yourself in to survive. It kills the I am not enough, the I am always the problem, the I am destined to suffer. It kills the characters you played to be loved, the masks you wore to feel safe, the narratives you clung to because you did not yet know there was something deeper beneath them.